How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite bass fishing podcast, Scales and Tails, episode 206 today. And Kyle, I forgot to mention this before we started recording. Since there's only, at this time of recording, there's only two episodes out with this icebreaker question. I'm going to ask you an icebreaker question here in a second, and it's going to be, what is your walk-up song? If you were to fish the Classic or be in a UFC fight or whatever else it may be, what's the walk-up song for Kagi? You can sit on that and stew for a second, but I've been trying to tell the guys since I'm so far ahead right now in recording. Like if I had to put you on the spot like that, I'd have felt really bad because I did that with a couple other people already. So just wanted to preface that, and I totally forgot before we started recording. So I'll let you think about that while I do this introduction, and we'll work our way into that part of the conversation. But thank you guys for listening, everybody. Episode 206, Kyle McCann. You guys may be familiar. Maybe you've seen his reels on Instagram or TikTok, maybe Facebook as well, or YouTube Shorts. But he he's doing something that I would probably say 99.9999% of the guys listening to this, they have that thought in the back of their mind of doing, whether it's the content creation or, the broad term of fishing full time, or, just whatever it might be. And Kyle has taken this idea and he's doing it. He committed to it, and we are, what are we like? How many days in are you? I haven't been keeping track.
We're logging in on day 43 today.
43. Okay, I
Day
was thinking
43.
month and a half.
August 11th. Yeah, August 11th was day one. August 12th was my birthday.
Okay.
And ever since then, we've been rolling as hard as I can, as strong as I can, building, growing, and connecting with as many people as possible.
Heck yeah, man. So, but we'll just say 45 days, just call it a nice even round number. 45 days into it, to being your own boss, your own, I mean, boss is probably the best way to put it. Just doing your own thing, and just to preface this, Kyle does have a family. It's not like he's a single guy in his 20s who's couch surfing, or not that there's anything wrong with that, but Kyle does have stuff in his life that he supports and stuff. So just to put that in perspective as well, when we get a little bit deeper into the conversation, he's not just going balls to the wall with no consequences or whatever else it may be. But I guess Kyle, we'll start off. You know the first, or that icebreaker question. So I'll ask you the easy one of the two. You and I we're gonna go fish. Oh, Kyle is also located in Arkansas, which I think you might be the first Arkansas guy on. Or no, maybe
Nice.
Kevin from KGB might live in Arkansas, I think. He's
He does.
close. I know
Yeah,
he's
for
very
sure.
close. So
Yeah.
we'll say you're the second guy, just in case. I don't want to be wrong here, but maybe you are the first. I can't remember to be exact. But Kyle, you and I, we're gonna get up and we're gonna go fish tomorrow morning, around your neck of the woods over there in Arkansas. And you also haven't been there for very long, so this might just be an interesting question for you to think on as well. We're gonna fish in the morning, but we have to stop. We got to get gas for the truck, gas for the boat. What convenience store or gas station are we stopping at, and what's like your pre-trip essentials, whether it's a snack, a drink, whatever it may be, a stimulant? Like, what's the go-to for you while we're there? Pre-trip, yeah,
Man,
pre-trip ritual.
I love this question. So if you would have asked me 6.5 weeks ago before I moved here, it would have been sheets.
Yo,
Big sheets
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Love to hit sheets, love to get a breakfast sandwich. So, pretzel bun breakfast sandwich with egg, cheese, bacon
Mm,
is the deal.
mhm.
And then they've got these little like hash brown bites with bacon,
Oh yeah,
and
I've
I'm
I've
getting
gotten
the
those before.
biggest possible coffee I can grab.
Mm,
And then I'm a sweet tooth guy. And
okay.
it doesn't take much to satisfy me. I'm talking like Sour Patch,
Mm,
probably some like Nerds Rope or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that, and maybe like a beef jerky, and then a can of Zin coffee threes, and
Oh, coffee flavor.
yeah,
Okay,
gotta
okay.
yeah, gotta get my nicotine fix, and that's usually my go-to order. Fill up the boat, fill up the truck. But Sheets, I'm a diehard, but now it's Casey's.
Casey's. Yeah. Yep.
Casey's is like Missouri, Arkansas. I think they're in Oklahoma too, but it's pretty equivalent to Sheets. But
Mhm.
if I was going for a sponsorship, I'm going after Sheets.
Right. Yeah. Man, that's funny. You well, I've never added the stimulant part until now, but you are the first guy to say that you're getting Zins, or whether it's pouches or snub, whatever else it may be. You're the first guy that has mentioned that, but like I said, I'm the first. That's the first time that I've ever kind of thrown it out there as well. Um, That's interesting. I sub icebreaker question because every time somebody mentions coffee, I have to know their order. Are you a straight black coffee kind of guy, or do you dress it up?
No, I'm a straight black coffee guy. I have been a coffee fiend my whole life.
Mm.
And funny, we're talking about coffee, and maybe we'll get into this later, but I worked in the coffee industry for quite a while before
Mm,
jumping out of my 9 to 5. So I'm sure
really?
we'll talk about that later.
Well,
Yep.
that's interesting. I'll just bring this part up. For a while, I thought about starting a branch off of S&T, a coffee brand, because it was something dude, I freaking love coffee. I had the whole business plan written up, had the name picked out and everything. But we'll dive into that when we get into your story a little bit later. And now that you've had probably about I don't know how far we are, probably like 7 minutes into this recording, give or take. Now, the question that's probably been sitting in the back of your head this whole time we've been talking here, what is Kyle's walkout song? Whether it's to the classic UFC belt championship or MLB walkout song, whatever it may be. What's a song that you're playing for everybody in the stands to be like, okay, Kyle's in the mood right now. Like he's locked in. He's gonna mess somebody up or catch a big fish or whatever else it may be.
Dude, I don't think they would allow me to play this, but I love Rage Against the Machine.
Okay.
I'd love to drop like Bulls on Parade
Yeah.
or Wake Up, something like that.
Mhm.
But I mean, what they'd allow me to go, I'd be like a Skinnered Simple Man. That's
Okay.
actually what my mom has defined as my song.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a simple guy, man. All I want to do is go fish and be with my family, have
Mhm.
freedom to choose when I get to do those things. And
Yeah.
it really describes me like to a T for sure.
That'd be a good one. I'm surprised. Maybe there is a UFC fighter with that, but that would be a very, very good one for a UFC fighter, I think. It's a very good song. So, was that hard for you to come up with your like Rage Against the Machine, or was that kind of like once I said it, that was the first thing that popped into your mind?
I don't know, man. Music for me is like something that inspires me every day.
Mhm.
I have a background in music, like growing up, so I'm like when you think of the word eclectic and you think of music tying that together, dude, I could play like my liked songs
Mhm.
on Spotify, and we could go from like
Hey guys, I want to take a minute to introduce you to my friends over at snooksnacks.com, an online tackle shop built by fishermen for fishermen. The owners are die-hard anglers themselves, and they put a real focus on swim baits and glide baits, the kind that all of us trophy hunters rely on. Snooksnacks partners with many brands to produce exclusive swim baits in custom colorways that you simply can't find anywhere else. Their swim bait lineup in particular is carefully hand-picked for proven mass production baits to custom handcrafted swim baits, all of which flat out catch fish. Snooksnacks is always giving back to the community too, with regular giveaways on rods, reels, and high-end swim baits. And when you place an order, you'll get lightning fast shipping and customer service that's second to none. If you're ever not 100% satisfied with your order, they'll move mountains to make sure you're happy. And don't let the name fool you. Snooksnacks has gear for trophy anglers everywhere. Whether you're chasing bass, muskie, stripers, or anything in between, if you're listening to this podcast, odds are you'll find something at Snooksnacks that earns a permanent spot in your lineup. So do yourself a favor and check them out at snooksnacks.com, and be sure to use code SNT10 to save 10% off. Make sure you guys also follow them on Instagram to stay in the loops of drops, deals, and giveaways. Picture this: the sun rising over the mountains, your line gets tight, and the fight of a lifetime begins. Welcome to Lake Bacharach Lodge, Mexico's premier largemouth bass fishing lodge. Nestled in the heart of the Sierra Madre Mountains, Lake Bacharach Lodge offers world-class fishing, luxury accommodations, first-class hospitality, and expert guides who know where the grandes live. Whether you're chasing giants or kicking back after a day on the water with a frosty, cold, bottomless margarita, we've got you covered. Home to some of the biggest bass in the world, Lake Bacharach is truly an angler's paradise. Don't miss your shot at the bass of a lifetime. Book your trip now at www.lakebacharachlodge.com or call 806-316-8382 today. Lake Bacharach Lodge, truly the best in bass. If you're listening to this podcast, it's safe to assume you're tossing big baits for trophy bass. You already know that treble hook changes are part of the game, but they don't always have to be a pain in the butt to do. Toit split ring pliers are hands down the easiest way to swap out treble hooks, especially on those beefy swim baits we all love. No more slipping, no more fighting your gear, just smooth, secure hook changes every time. Available in 3 fixed sizes in a full kit with interchangeable jaws that safely open up any size split ring. Toyota doesn't stop there. They offer a full lineup of precision tools designed with anglers in mind, including long and short nose pliers, scissors that cut cleanly on limp braid, and wire forming tools perfect for rigging those soft baits. So up your game with Toy, because when you're chasing giants, every detail matters. Check them out at toyfishing.com and be sure to use code SNT15 for 15% off your order. Again, that's toyfishing.com, TOIT fishing.com. And again, SNT15 for 15% off your order.
Louis Armstrong
Mm,
to today's country
yeah.
to like drill rap to anything.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're riding with me on the way to the boat ramp, you're
Yeah.
gonna get a plethora of stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly how my play or not my play my like songs, dude. It goes from as funny as it is, like British drill rap to like Marty Robbins, like
Yes,
dude, it goes all over the place. But yeah, I think we're pretty pretty close or pretty similar in that sense by the sounds of it. And by the coffee thing, dude. I could be talking about, dude. I might have to move to Arkansas to be closer to you. We might end up being best friends by the end of this podcast, the way it's laying out right now.
let's go, dude.
Heck yeah, dude. So let's start from like the beginning. We'll get into the fishing, kind of you entering maybe getting like we'll say quote unquote like an adult job and kind of how all that played out until where we are now. So when did the whole fishing side of things start for you and where did you grow up and kind of learn the whole fishing side of things?
So I am from South Florida originally. I grew up Fort Lauderdale area, and my dad was a firefighter slash fishing guide. Most firefighters have like a side gig because they're 24 on, 48 off,
Mhm.
depending on where they are. And my dad knew the Everglades,
Mm.
Flamingo specifically, Flamingo National Park or Everglades National Park, Flamingo entrance, like the back of his hand. So we spent every Easter there, every Thanksgiving there. And then furthermore, my uncle had a house in the Keys. So I grew up like hardcore saltwater fisherman, snook, tarpon, redfish, bonefish,
Mm.
permit, the whole gambit, fish in the flats.
Wow.
Um, so I got a lot of experience pretty much all through my dad. And my dad's dad owned a rod manufacturing company in the Keys when he was a kid. So everything's kind of been generational for
Yeah.
us. And I've learned so much from my old man. He might be kind of a dick, but he's definitely taught me by example.
Yeah.
But like back in the day when I was 5, I won my first award, so to say. Caught a sailfish at 5 years old in
Yeah.
the Miami Sport Fishing Club. So that was like my dad was part of the Miami Sport Fishing Club. I was part of it as a kid, and we just loved competing, loved being a part of the community of fishing. And moving forward, as I got a bit older, probably into like my teen years, I got into a kayak.
Mm.
And that was like the first powered craft, by paddle that I had owned. And I moved up to an area called Jupiter, where
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure a lot of people here know Jupiter
Yeah.
because of snook.
Hmm.
And I went to high school there, and I was floating a river. There's a park called Riverbend Park that connects to the Loxahatchee River,
Hmm.
and you would get pretty much every type of snook that you could imagine. Which
Yeah.
some people might not know this, but there are multiple species of snook. So you got sword spine, you've got fat snook, you've got a common snook, which is the one that gets super big, and I think there's one other that I'm missing, but this was basically like an estuary that went way up into this river system. And imagine fishing like a small creek in, I don't know, north, like you're trout fishing,
Hmm.
but there's snook, there's tarpon, there's
Yeah.
mangrove snapper, there's bass, all
Hmm.
mixed into this one area. And you could float it from the entrance of the park all the way down to Jonathan Dickinson Park, which was like 10 miles.
Mm.
And I just got absolutely obsessed with doing that. And that place turned into like back of my hand, knew every log, knew every laydown, knew where every alligator was going to be, knew where every fish was going to be
Yeah.
hugged up. So that kind of sparked my big interest in adulthood to really chase like, I don't know, bass,
Mhm.
snook. Like bass and snook to me are super similar, the way
Right.
they act, the way they eat, the way they do things. Um, and from there, I bought a Ginu, so flat
Oh
back
yeah.
canoe,
Yep.
little 9.9 horsepower, and started to expand my realm. So went out to Jonathan Dickinson Park, like the bigger areas of the
Mhm.
Loxahatchee River, really expanded into like docklight fishing.
Yeah.
So got super obsessed with fly fishing. I'd basically never bring a conventional
Mhm.
rod, like no spinning rods, no big casters, just a fly rod, and was tying flies, like wasting all my money on reels, rods, so on and so forth. And you think swim bait rod or swim bait reel is expensive, dude. Don't go into fly fishing. But that's kind of like start to high school for me.
Hmm.
It fishing has always been a commonplace for me. I've picked up other things like surfing, snowboarding, mountain biking, so on and so forth. But fishing has been the thing that stood with me just from start to finish. Like
Right.
I remember 3 years old, my dad keeps telling me this story now. He's like, dude, I gave you one of those little Snoopy poles,
Hmm.
and the first fish that you caught, you didn't touch the reel handle. You ran up the bank and pulled the bass onto
Yeah.
shore. Like keeps reminding me of that. And it's like, dude, you've changed so much. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's 31 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the upbringing. Um, I can go deeper if you want,
Yeah,
like
I was
to
gonna say.
now to keep coming forward.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So a common theme that I'm sure myself and a lot of the followers or a lot of listeners have picked up on is through high school. Growing up, guys are big into fishing, whatever else, and then when they get those college years or post school or secondary school, whatever else it may be, life changes. People not necessarily fall out of fishing, but college takes over, secondary school, or they go and work the 9 to 5 workforce. And fishing, not all the time, but sometimes takes a back seats to new hobbies or new interests or just new life in general. Was that something that you kind of went through, or was fishing like such a big part of it for you that you just coasted through it with whatever you did after high school?
Yeah, man. So I took an interesting route, I'd say. School was never my strong suit.
Mm,
I think I missed like 65 days my senior year because I was out fishing pretty
right.
much every night. Like 3 a.m. you'd find me at the dock
Mm,
lights. And that was like, drop the truck or bring the truck to the boat ramp, drop the kayak in the water, just skivvy back. And I grew up in kind of a broken family, so my mom wasn't like always on my ass,
mm,
and she just knew that fishing was something that I loved so
yeah.
much. So she never really harped on me. There was never a like,
Mm,
when are you coming home? Like, where are you at? She knew I'm out. She knew
mm,
I was out there. So after high school, I actually avoided college at all costs. I didn't have the money to go to university, no scholarship, no funds, nothing like that. So I immediately started working at marinas in my area,
mm,
and Jupiter is like hub of just a lot of sport fishing boats, a lot of yachts, a lot of people that go fishing offshore, and eventually had the opportunity to work on sport fishing boats and motor yachts.
mm.
So I took that and ran. I graduated high school in '09, so 2010 to 2014, I was either on a sport fishing boat and motor yacht combo, like we would have 110 to 150-foot yacht that would have a sport fisher as kind of our towboat
Mm.
or side straggler, and usually the destination was somewhere around the Caribbean, and kind of chase that for 3 or 4 years, and between there, like some freelance oddball jobs at marinas, crewing on random boats, but really took on like the lifestyle of knowing, like, as a kid, my dream was always to be a guide
Mm.
or a captain. I wanted to be a fishing guide. I wanted to do the same thing that my dad did, which was, backcountry guide. And I, after 4 years, found that working on a boat, you didn't really have the opportunity to have the freedom necessarily to do what you wanted because we'd be gone for 3 to 4 months at a time.
Mm.
It wasn't like I was going home. We'd be on anchor for 2 weeks. We'd be middle of nowhere in the Bahamas, which
Yeah.
great. It's awesome, but you're at the beck and call of the owner. You're going fishing every single day or every other day, and it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but it's tiring.
Mhm.
You don't get to see your friends. You don't get to see your family. Half the time, you don't have service. So it definitely wore on me. And I finally found, long story short, I met my wife 11 years ago in Fort Lauderdale, and I was working on a boat that got shipped to California. I went with the boat, and she was moving to San Francisco at the same time.
Wow.
So push came to shove, I was like, hell yeah, I want to go
Hmm.
chase this boat or stay on this boat. And it's docked like literally down the road from my where my girlfriend at the
Hmm.
time was moving. And it's like, yeah, of course, I want to see the world. And the opportunity presented itself. And I posted something today on social media just about like my life and your life are the sum of decisions.
Mhm.
And every decision that I've made has brought me to where I am today. Like none of this was a fluke. None of this has been unplanned. Like, sure, I didn't think that today at 34 years old, I would be chasing this dream or at least have this opportunity.
Yeah.
But all of the decisions I've made over the past 30 years have pretty much amounted to be able
Mhm.
to be where I'm at now. And so, San Francisco, get there, still doing the same thing, leaving for months at a time at the beck and call of an owner on the boat. And I literally jumped ship, like actually, like like left the boat when we were down in Mexico, and it's like, dude, I can't handle this anymore. I can't handle being away all the time. I've got a girlfriend. I want to start a life, and made the connection to some of the owner's friends actually. And this owner, consider we're in Silicon Valley,
Mhm.
knew a lot of people at Facebook, at Twitter, at Pinterest, all of these big companies that were in the area.
Mhm.
And that actually started my career in marketing. So 20, it was probably late 2014, early 15, I started at Facebook. So I had the opportunity because I knew who I knew. I call myself a talker. Most of my career has been based on who I've known, not what I've known, and I've grown from that. Um, and so my career after that has been focused in marketing, social and digital marketing for the past almost 11 years now.
Mhm.
Um, and it's brought me from working at these tech giants. I was at Facebook for a year. I went to Twitter for like 6 months and then got the call to work with, uh, if you know, Transworld. So Transworld
Oh,
Skate,
yeah, yeah.
Transworld Snow,
Yep.
Surfer. The conglomerate that owned that was the Enthusiast Network. We called it 10. So started there after Twitter and managed our whole book of like the 13 different publications, social strategy.
Yeah.
Um, so really got like full look at how media houses work.
Mhm.
So, SMT is a media company, I
Yeah.
assume is what
Mhm.
you would consider it. Like
Yeah.
I got the back end view of how Transworld Skate, as an example.
Wow.
I'm sure most of the viewers here know Transworld Skate, like
Yeah.
no longer RIP, but um, like I got the opportunity to help them with social strategy, to help them with brands that bought in as advertisers to the brand, along with the 12 other brands that they had owned. And I'd say like that was probably the biggest jump in my career to getting me where I am today. And while skateboarding, snowboarding, mountain biking, like surfing, the things that they had owned from a media perspective are not fishing,
Mhm.
it really helped me like understand the landscape of what needs to happen as a creator or
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur or as a media brand. And from there, I continued in the outdoor industry working at a company called Canyon Bikes and then Smith Optics, and then landed at Ely Coffee, which is like a 90+ year old coffee brand that's
Mhm.
based in Italy. My last job, and left there 43 or 45 days
Yeah.
ago, whatever we want to say. But my roles have always been in marketing, working with pro athletes, working with sponsors, working with uh, big budgets from like a media perspective, building social strategy. So everything I'm doing today has culminated to why I'm in this position that I am.
Wow, that's crazy. So when you started at Facebook, you didn't have uh, broad assumption here. You didn't have any idea about marketing, I would guess.
I mean, I've always loved camera work. I've
Okay.
always had a camera.
Mhm.
I brought it with me those 4 years that I
Mhm.
fished on private motor yachts and sport fishing boats. And I knew I had an interest in it. And I knew that I liked photojournalism and storytelling.
Mhm.
So bringing out the stories behind like the people that are at the marina that I would go to in the Bahamas, like those are people you never hear about.
Mhm.
And talking to them, even in the fashion of like, sure, I'm never going to promote this, but
Yeah.
like taking a photo with those guys was something to me that meant a lot. And
Mhm.
like I've stored those for my own memory. And I've stored all the photos of like us on boats together, like me and the crew. I'm still cool with like everyone that I've worked with on motor yachts in the past. And that's really driven me my whole life is telling stories, engaging people, like bringing out something that people don't always have in them or know that they have in them. So I'm sure we'll talk about this, but like my journey has led me today to inspire other people to like actually chase something
Mhm.
that they really want.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the impetus of knowing that marketing was in my blood.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you got hired on to Facebook or Twitter, what was your role, I guess? What did you kind of talk yourself into, kind of, or I guess, yeah, like how did you, what were you doing essentially? Because marketing kind of a big, broad term, like you don't have to say exactly what you were doing, but like kind of what was the gist of that first job at Facebook and kind of how long did it take you to learn the ship and be like, okay, I can handle this. I know what I'm doing now.
So Facebook really was not like super focused on marketing. I was a data analyst in like a very junior role. We were looking at the algorithm and how information was plugged into the search tool. So you go on Facebook, you search for Kyle McCann.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure that the right Kyle McCann shows up. I would review the big, broad results that came back and then work with product managers and engineers to ensure that that information that's coming back is correct. My role there was short, almost a year, because I found that, dude, I'm not a big data guy. Like, I love data. I love fact. I love, um, producing data that shows like truthful information. I
Yeah,
love that
value and
aspect
stuff.
about
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I don't like just staring at a screen and crunching numbers, sitting in Excel all day. Like, so from there, I had the opportunity with someone else that I had known at Twitter, and we were working with advertisers that were spending money, so advertising on Twitter, and had like a 50 person or a 50 brand book of business that essentially we were trying to reactivate them to spend more on Twitter.
Yeah.
So giving them the nuts and bolts of what you need to do, how, the effect of spending more could be positive for your business. And that was like where I really found that I like the aspect of showing people the power of these platforms of social. And that definitely was like my Kickstarter into social, into marketing, into seeing how brands and businesses use social media and digital marketing.
Right. Yeah. How did you end up at Transworld? Like, who did you know? Maybe not like name drop who do you know, but how did you find yourself there? And were you familiar with them prior to getting the opportunity?
Yeah, man, I've been a reader of Surfer magazine my whole life, Transworld Skate, like a lot of the publications were under that house. And I was already doing photo work for a company in San Francisco that was manufacturing paddle boards and skateboards.
Yeah.
So I was working with them through a brand that they owned called Sup the Mag. That was like the big Sup magazine or stand up paddle magazine back in the day. We advertised with them. I grew the connection. Again, not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
Kept that connection super warm, like always was in touch with those people. And the role that I got popped up and it was focused on social. Like
Mm.
they really wanted someone that understood the like back then a social algorithm is
Right.
nothing like it is today,
Yeah.
but understood like the nuts and bolts of social. Like what do you need to do? How do you do it? How do you sell it to an advertiser?
Mhm.
And I had had that experience and knew the connection from Sup the Mag.
Mm.
And I wouldn't say like weaseled my way
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
but like it was again like about who I knew, not totally what I knew. Like
Mhm.
the I definitely knew what I was doing, but again, if there's anything anyone takes away from my journey, it's always been about who, not what.
Mm. Yeah. What was it like? I mean, did you get to do a lot of camera work when you were at Transworld, or was it a lot of I guess just like essentially what were you doing while you were at Transworld as far as the day-to-day stuff?
So my role originally was called social strategy manager. I worked with all 13 of the brands under the media house. And directed them on how to have a social strategy,
Mhm.
whether it was, making sure that they had posts going up every day or using a social media platform to track their data. I was automating reports so that I could deliver back to them information to help them optimize their social strategy, looking at their copy, looking at the images and photos and the videos that they were posting. And then probably the most important thing that they brought me on for was selling the value of social to advertisers.
Mhm.
Because the way a media brand works, for anyone that's watching, like, I'm sorry to say, but nothing is funded by the brand
Yeah.
ever, like, or by the media company.
Mhm.
Like, you got to have sponsors, you got to have people that can help you build your brand, you've got to promote people. So, if I can plug anything, like, dude, support your media brand, like, support SNT, like, you got to do something to give back. Like, you're selling merch, like,
Mhm.
that's a way that you are obviously like making a living or
Yeah.
keeping this podcast alive. So for me, I was really like the conduit between, like, I worked with the Lululemon men's launch.
Okay.
Now, Lululemon is like huge in
Yeah.
menswear. I was part of them launching
Wow.
the men's category with Surfer magazine, with Bike, and with Powder magazine.
Mm.
And I essentially would build out the social strategy for that advertising campaign.
Mm.
So really just like focus solely on social for all of the brands in-house and then with the advertisers that worked with us.
Yeah. Were you doing a lot of like conceptual layout stuff? Like here, this is how we can implement these photos, these stock, quote unquote stock photos or product photos you guys have. This is where it's going to be in the magazine for, just whatever else it may be. Were you doing a lot of that stuff, or was it more so kind of saying, okay, this is what we need, guys. Come to me with your ideas or your concept ideas or concept designs, and we'll kind of weed it out and pick what we want or pick the ones we want to go with.
So oftentimes I was in like the production meetings. So
Okay.
let's say it's Transworld Skate and Adidas comes to them with an idea of a campaign. They've got their own photographers, videographers, and Adidas obviously has a pro.
Yeah.
The media that they're going to run is either shot by Adidas or shot by Transworld, and it's
Okay.
an original piece of content by Transworld. And I'm instructing them of like, hey guys, you need to do X amount of videos, X amount of stories, X amount of photo posts,
Hmm.
and link to their landing page that they want to have live and drive traffic to. So I'm more like the strategic side behind the distribution
Yeah.
and then how we provide value to the advertiser.
Mm.
So the voice behind like, yo, we're going to blow this out of the water. And then we're going to get you to come back for another campaign as soon as this one's done. So I
Yeah.
was the guy that like really made sure that the relationship was solid from a social media perspective.
Was there incentive for you to sell these larger packages to these companies, using Adidas as an example? Was there bonus or just incentives as a way to be like, okay, Kyle, like if you are able to swing this X $10 deal, we'll give you $2 type thing. Like, was there incentives to get you to become essentially a good salesman or a good pitch giver?
Not really. We had a dedicated sales team, so
Okay.
no commission based on my
Mhm.
role. Gosh, I wish that was the case, but like that was definitely part of like a KPI of my job though.
Yeah.
Like, I had impression counts or view counts or engagement counts that I was held accountable to,
Mhm.
but there were no incentives or commission driven if I over delivered,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But like, when the business is doing good, like,
Yeah.
you're doing good as well. You're in
Mhm.
good standings. Like, my role did up level there. Like, I became the digital strategy manager
Mhm.
by the time I was heading out.
Mhm.
So I mean, in all things, like, I've just learned to like bust your ass, do your best, and really provide value at all costs for sure.
Right. So when you left there, what was the coffee gig like? Was that lined up prior? Did you know you were leaving Trans World to pick up or go to this place, I should say, or was it just kind of test the waters and kind of see what else is out there as far as opportunity?
And so my journey is longer. I went to Canyon Bikes after that,
Oh yeah, yeah, you
and
said that.
then I went to Smith Optics, and then the coffee company. I can wrap those three into one kind of conversation, but Canyon is a direct to consumer model bike company.
Okay.
They sell mountain bikes, road bikes, gravel bikes, triathlon bikes. They're originally from Germany, and they had just entered the U.S. market. And they actually poached me. They reached out to me while I was at Transworld.
Mhm.
Um, they offered me quite a bit higher salary, so I wasn't like huge into cycling at that point, but
Right.
I'd ridden mountain bikes my whole life,
Mhm.
not in the way that like fishing affected me, but cycling has always been something like I'm looking over here. I got four bikes sitting over here, two mountain bikes, two gravel bikes. Like it's still a piece of my life. Um, but there, like I got huge experience like on the brand side and on the D2C side. So selling things direct to consumer where consumer can only buy something online and how to really translate marketing from another country into a new country. So they had never been in the US
Yeah.
before. They had just entered and it was a big company already. They were huge in sports marketing, like sponsored a bunch of guys in like the Tour de France, if anyone knows, like pro cycling, in like the UCI mountain bike scene. And now they're one of the biggest cycling companies in the world.
Right.
Um, so from there, like really similar stuff and was managing all of our digital and social in the US at first and was able to actually build a team throughout my 2.5, almost 3 years there. And then just had another opportunity where I thought it was going to be the end all be all. Smith Optics to me has like encompassed all of my things that I
Mm.
love for forever. I've always worn their sunglasses. Like, small shout out, I'm not sponsored by them, but their Chroma Pop lenses are bar none the best of the best, in my opinion. They just dropped a new lens called Polar Chromic. I actually have them here, but these things are
Mm.
VLT is like the scale of how lenses perform in certain light conditions. These have a range that essentially allow you to see like in the
Mm.
dark, like
Yeah, yeah.
cloudy, and then in bright sun.
Mm.
So they're really, really solid from like an innovation perspective. On the sunglass side, they also make mountain bike helmets, cyclist over here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm also a snowboarder, and they're like the originator of the snowboard goggle.
Mm.
So for me, that was like, dude, I'm coming here. I'm never going to go anywhere,
Mm.
never going to leave. And the term grass is always greener happened almost immediately. They like, not to talk crap, but it just wasn't a fit for me. Like,
Yeah.
it was during COVID. I was one of the few that was remote. Like most of them were in office at least sometimes. And the team was going through some transitions. They were owned by a company in Italy where ideas and deliverables changed almost every day.
Mm.
And to me, like some moral things didn't align. Like I had a kid at the end of my tenure there, and I was just like, the way they treated that was not bueno.
Oh.
So I kind of stepped out and knew that from there, I wanted to expand outside of, because back up on Smith, I was the owner of all of our D2C channel
Mm.
and sold, was basically, if anyone knows what a P&L is, I owned our P&L at Smith Optics for the D2C side of the business. So I had a lot of responsibility. Um, and the fact that like my morals didn't line up entirely was not good for me. I'm like super morals
Mm.
focused person, and dude, you're spending 40 minimum of 40 hours at a job every week.
Yeah.
If there's something like that that doesn't align with you, like, dude, there's so many jobs out there
Mm.
that you could find. So I parted ways, and the next thing I wanted to do was really expand my expertise outside of just direct to consumer. And so CPG, consumer packaged goods, was important from a category to me. And coffee, dude, I've been, like I said, drinking coffee my whole life. Probably why I'm only 5'8" and my growth is stunted. But a role came up again. I got headhunted, um, and was able to work specifically for Ely on the U.S. portfolio or the U.S. side, and managed pretty much all of our brand execution on the digital and social side. So we had never had social media in the US with the brand. I onboarded an agency, a production team, built out the strategy, launched the brand on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, like from net zero. They're sitting at like 100,000 followers
Mhm.
now. Um, and then ran all of our media campaigns. So if you saw something on like connected TV or online or like paid media on social, that was my job. Great company, great product, love coffee, will still drink Ely to this day. But that was kind of the culmination of everything coming together.
Yeah.
I've now like got the experience. Part of my job at Ely and at Smith was working with pros, with athletes, owning the budget for that, seeing these creators and influencers make a ton of money. And not only that, like building their brands
Mhm.
from their following, from their audience, from their communities, and from their voices. And I've always wanted to have something of my own, and things just lined up. And like that's kind of where we are today.
Yeah.
45 days ago, I was like, I'm moving to Arkansas. I've got a cushion saved up. I've got the knowledge. I've
Mhm.
got the plan. I'm going. Like it's time. It's time to do this because just personal information. I got another kid on the way. It's like once that happens, this opportunity will never come again.
Mhm.
So made the leap, and here we are.
Heck yeah, dude. So you still you offer, correct me if I'm wrong, but you offer services to creators, like creators who want to reach out to try to, like you mentioned earlier, build brands and everything. Is that accurate to say?
Right now, I'm focused on myself.
Okay.
Like I've got like a phased approach right now, building the audience, building trust, building credibility. But that is in my roadmap to help others that want to
Mhm.
do the same thing.
Mhm. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, you have the resume for that, and then a couple months from now, add yourself to that resume too as a self-proclaimed project, school experiment. Like I did this, these are the steps I took, this is the growth pattern, these are, whatever the checklist that I took down the road to get where I am now. Here's how you guys can implement it yourself. This is how you go about it, whatever else it may be. Is that kind of a roundabout what you'll offer down the road eventually?
Yeah, and I don't want to call myself one of these like dudes that's just selling a course.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I want to be someone that's able to like actually provide consulting. And I think my first focus will be with brands because I've worked with brands, and I don't want to be someone that's like just taking money from other people that may not be able to actually do this.
Right.
So I want to be really careful with like helping out other creators. But in a nutshell, it'll be very similar to how I help brands. But again, like I'll be sharing the roadmap of how to do it like for free
Yeah.
soon. Like I don't want to be taking money out of the pocket of my boys at
Right. Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Like my friends, my community, my people, like I know brands, I know corporations have money, and I'd prefer to be taking money from corporate America, not
Yeah.
from Swimbait or Bass America.
Right. Yeah. So what have you been up to for the last 45 days? For anybody who doesn't know, Kyle did put out or is putting out videos every day or every other day along this journey. Is it the current on Instagram? Is that all it is the current on Instagram?
That's right. It's the current with a K. So first name Kyle, first initials K. So I swapped the current with TheKurrent. First 45 days has really been a lot of behind the scenes work. Like putting out a video a day hasn't been super hard. Like I'm telling my journey, trying to inspire other
Yeah.
people to really take the same steps that I have. Like, and I can't tell you, I think you said it at the beginning, like 99.9% of people have probably had a similar idea to do what I'm doing right now. So my focus has really been just building a community of people that have that idea, that have that dream, and give tips, give ideas, show my passion, show my journey of how I'm doing it for free. Like I'm
Mhm.
not trying to, again, take money from the Bassin man. Like that's not my objective right now. But in the background, I have a couple of content series I'm working on. I've got a podcast I'm working on, and I've got a couple of products that I'm working on where I'm kind of connecting the dots of
Mhm.
something that, say, fishing hasn't seen before.
Right.
Um, we, as we've been talking about for the past probably 10 minutes, I've been blabbing. Like I've got a pretty solid business background, and from my perspective, like the business of bass fishing, the business of fishing is something that people are really interested in.
Yeah.
And the business of influencing, of creating content, of making money and turning fishing into a living is something that people like want to know how to do,
Mhm.
want to know like what are the steps. So that's more of my focus. Like I love fishing tournaments. I love throwing swim baits. I love fly fishing. I love offshore fishing still, backcountry fishing. Like I call myself rod agnostic or fish agnostic.
Yeah.
Like I'll fish whatever, dude.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't matter to me. Um, don't get me wrong. Like bass tournament fishing right now is like that's where my brain like gets
Yeah.
stuck. But I think what I have found is where I can provide value is helping brands and helping other
Mhm.
people that want to take these same steps.
Right. When you left the coffee gig, did you have a checklist or some kind of list like after day 20 I want to have this stuff accomplished, whether it was content creation or maybe a follower goal or I want to be this far into a product onto a product design or into a series, whether it's getting posted yet or not. Like I want to have 2 episodes in the backlog ready to go for when I'm ready to start this stuff. Like was there and is there a checklist or some kind of list that you were like, these are the things I want to accomplish, and if I accomplish this stuff in not necessarily the allotted time, but in this course of time, like I know that I'm in the green, I'm doing really good. I'm setting myself up for the next 45 days.
100%. Yeah. I mean, business plan has been created for probably 6 months now of like, here's the trajectory, here's the path, here are the numbers that I need to meet. And right now, I'm lucky in that I've been planning this for a long time. I've been putting my money where my mouth is,
Yeah.
making the right decisions, like not going out for a coffee and instead putting that $5 away into a slush fund. Like
Mhm.
right now, I'm focused on building an audience, and that was always part of the plan. And I have checkpoints along the way that say exactly what you just said. Like I have a content series that'll probably launch right around the time that this
Mhm.
launches, and it includes a podcast, video extension, and I'll begin launching some brand partnerships soon as well. So all of this stuff is like I'd say I'm type A, but with tendencies to be a little loose. Like I'm a planner, but only because I have anxiety.
Yeah.
uh, so a lot of this stuff is very well thought out, very well mapped, and there's definitely a tipping point where if I don't meet certain goals, like the worst case scenario, and a lot of people have asked me about this along this journey, is like, dude, I could go back and look for a job.
Mhm.
And that's the worst thing that
Yeah.
happens. And if that's the case, man, I really hope people hear this and understand that, like, if you're not 21 and you're 30 and you've spent the past decade building skills, I don't know if they're construction or something like that, you finally want to make the leap. The worst thing that happens if you do make the leap and you've got to go back to work is you got to go back to work.
Yeah.
Like it ain't that bad.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's excuse me. I think it pays off to be a person that has a skill set that allows you to fallback plan isn't the probably the best way of wording it, but to have yourself a cushion, like you said, to have a set of skills where you're like, okay, I know guy who lays concrete's always going to be in need, no matter where. Everybody's going to need a concrete pad laid. I've been doing concrete for 6 years straight out of high school, so I'm going to take this leap. In worst case scenario, I sign back on with my boss and he tells me I told you so. Like I think guys see that in videos on Instagram, like all like the Gary V type guys or the Alex Hormozy type of guys, and they're like, oh yeah, that's easy. That's easy for this guy to say, or that's easy for that guy to say, and they think about it, and then that's as far as it goes. They think about it and they don't execute it, or it doesn't go past the thought. They don't put the pen to paper or whatever else. So I think for you to speak on it, being not in your 20s, being a little bit of an older guy with a family, with another addition on the way, like that kind of, I think puts it in perspective of hopefully, and for these guys or for these people that are listening, maybe to say, okay, you know what? Maybe, yeah, maybe I crunch for the next year and a half. I save and I take a 3 month leave of absence for work, and worst case scenario, I come back. Like, I don't know if you listen to well, I don't remember if that was on the podcast, so I'm not going to mention it. But yeah, like there's always going to be opportunities if your chance doesn't shake out. It's just I mean, if you're in some niche job, then maybe not. But if you know how to lay concrete or you know how to drive a hammer or whatever, typical blue collar stuff, there's always going to be a need for a job like that. So if you can take the leap, and in worst case scenario, like I said, you gotta run back with your tail tucked between your legs, but at least you tried. You know that you tried. You know that you gave it your best.
But I think the most important piece, and you already asked about it, is there a plan?
Mm,
Like this this opportunity didn't just like come to me 45 days ago.
yeah.
This opportunity came to me 30 years ago.
Mhm.
I knew that I wanted to be a guide someday. Like I knew that my connection of fishing, which is my passion for sure, is going to connect with something I can make money with someday. And sure, it might not be exactly to the T of like what I'm going to do. And I can tell you, even 45 days ago, the plan that I had or the angle and direction that I had wanted to go is not exactly the route that I'm taking now.
Right.
I just found that early on, so day two of my journey has like 100 some odd thousand views, and we all know that that's not huge on Instagram, but the single post has like almost 3,000 new followers from it.
Mm, wow.
And it's because I'm like talking like reality.
Mhm.
Like, dude, I quit my job or I started this quitting my 9 to 5 the day before I turned 34. I've got a wife, I've got a kid, I've got another kid on the way, I've got a mortgage, a truck payment, all of these things. But I've busted my ass for the past 10 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
Like from a financial and
Mhm.
career perspective, I'm not just coming at this like willy nilly. Oh, I want to be a content creator.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be like the next so and so, drop the name of YouTuber. Like that's not the case. And I think a lot of people, like you said, listen to the Gary V's, the Hormozis of the world, and are like, yeah, nice for you to say you've already
Yeah.
done it, but
Yeah.
it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Has it been maybe not weird? Has it been an interesting feeling to to go from essentially probably being behind the computer screens, figuring out, doing the Excel spreadsheets, writing the reports and everything, to now being the guy who's in the content, filming the content, essentially branding yourself? Like, has that been an interesting change for you for the last 45 days to put yourself out there, be the face of your own work rather than the picture of Serena Williams with the Adidas, tennis racket? Like, has that been what has that journey been like for you? Like, are you pretty comfortable on camera now, or did it always start like that, or kind of how's it all played out?
I personally enjoy public speaking.
Mm,
Like in a lot of my jobs, I do presentations to like C suites or to our full business.
yeah,
So I've had experience doing it, but never, well, take that back. Like I didn't just like start a channel 45 days ago.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
been doing it on the side or trying to do it on the side for quite a while. And I found that over time, like if you can't dedicate like 100% to something, it's tough.
yeah,
Like it is really tough. And I know you just got back from work. Like you jumped right on here after making dinner, after taking a
yeah,
shower. Like, dude, you are committed because clearly, like, you haven't even told me this, but you want
Yeah, yeah,
something that like you can turn it into
yeah.
like a full-time gig, right?
Mhm.
Like, and it's a serious commitment. You really got to want it. And I can tell you, like, yes, I have a quote unquote plan B, but plan B is not like, it's not rocket science. Like,
Mhm.
I'll go back and get a job so that I can get that extra funding for
Yeah,
another, I don't know, 6 months sabbatical or whatever it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Um, so long-winded way to just say, like, it's really tough to have a job at the same time and try to like really focus on something, but it hasn't been like a big transition or strange transition. Honestly, I've had more fun, been more focused, more opportunities than I've ever had in my life have come up because I'm not in Zoom calls all day,
yeah.
because I'm not dealing with crap that I don't want to be dealing with.
Mhm.
Like, not saying that my previous jobs were terrible, but like, it's not building my own brand. It's
Yeah,
not doing something for myself. And I've known that that's what I wanted to do for my whole life.
right. Yeah, it's crazy that you had mentioned kind of doing it on the side and stuff because yeah, guys might not always wrap their mind around that. Like there's a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but there's an amount of people that think scales and tails is my full-time job. And unfortunately, it is not. I do have a full-time job, but more so your job, it was very like especially your position sounds like it was very hands-on, a lot of meetings and stuff like that. I have a pretty lenient job as far as I don't really talk to anybody throughout the day. I kind of do my own thing. I can put in a set of earbuds and listen to audiobook or podcast all day while I'm doing my job. So people are always like, "Why I'm gonna do a blog write up about this," but they're like, "Why don't you, quit your job, do this full time?" And unfortunately, there's not enough money there. But also, the way I look at it, I get to sit. I'm working like 55, 60 hours now, but I can sit and get paid for 55, 60 hours to think about strategies, think about ideas, thinking about videos, have an idea, a list of people I want to interview. Like, I get paid to do all that stuff right now, like guaranteed paid as long as I'm still getting my normal stuff done at work. Like, they don't know what I'm thinking about. They don't know the brainstorming sessions I have in my mind all day. So that's kind of how I see it. Whereas yours was a lot more hands-on. You maybe weren't able to schedule or think of stuff throughout the day because you're worried about crunching these numbers or proving to this client that there's value behind it or providing value or, it I don't know. I feel like I've gotten lucky with the last couple jobs. Prior to this job, I was an apartment maintenance guy, and so as long as somebody's toilet wasn't leaking or their hot water heater was working or AC was working, like dude, I was in an office, I was in my little maintenance room, and I was just grinding S&T stuff. And that's why, like, if people look back or if people have been watching for a while, there was a small dip from when I moved back here because I had to reorientate everything because I got a grown-up job now. I don't have, 30 hours a week of downtime while at work. I still have downtime, but it's more so I have to physically be doing something so I can kind of like mentally stimulate myself. So it's been a change, and I think I've gotten lucky like that. I'm not in a position where I have to like provide value or I have to talk to people throughout the whole day or whatever else. I just kind of get this amount of time to myself. So then I can come home, I can shower, eat dinner, and I can boom. I already know the first four questions I'm going to ask you throughout the show and kind of set myself up for success that way. But eventually, it would be nice to do this full time, and we're kind of in the swing of that right now. But we're still a little bit of ways away. But yeah, it's it's interesting. I feel like it discourages a lot of people if they're a little bit older. Maybe they don't even have they have a girlfriend, wife, fiance, whatever else it may be, no kids yet or anything, and they're still on the edge of doing it. They're like, okay, I have this amount of money set aside, but that's only 3 months. Like, how am I going to be able to prove myself in 3 months? And that's I don't know. I don't think there's a way you can kind of prove it to yourself. It's more so just doing it, flying by the seat of your pants. And like we mentioned, harped on, 20, 25 minutes ago, you can always find another job. There's always somebody hiring for something, whether it's what you're doing now or a little bit, step down, go back to it, work at it for 2.5 years, turn around and try it again. It's worst case scenario.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, like I'm beating a dead horse here, but there's an old saying that I'm sure every single person has heard before, but anything in life that's worth it's never going to come easy. Like, you got to take risks. And like I said, I am not like without responsibilities. And this is a huge risk for me. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be a huge risk for anyone. And if you really want something, I'm not trying to be Gary Vee here or one of these like promotional coaches. Like, if you really want it, like you'll find time.
Mm.
Like for me, before the nine or while I was in the 9 to 5, it was everyone hears the 5 to 9, but
Yeah.
I've got a kid, so it was the 9 to 12 for me.
Hmm.
Like I was able to do like 3 hours, maybe like sprinkle in a little during my 9 to 5, like
Hmm.
when all my shit was done. But dude, it's a grind. Like if you really want to make this happen, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the biggest thing I had found, and maybe you can kind of elaborate on this, is being able to hold yourself accountable to setting up a schedule, setting up a to-do list, and like getting that stuff done. Dude, last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I recorded a podcast every single day from Monday to Saturday. And dude, it sucked, but I was like, this is what I have to do to set myself up to be able to work on this project to this project. For anybody, I haven't said anything, and this is going to be a little ways away. We are going to be restarting the magazine. It's going to be kind of structured a lot differently. It's going to be cheaper for everybody, but that's something that like I'm busting my hump, so I have these weekends to myself to be able to do this thing, or whether it's for Patreon or this, like it's all about it's sitting right here. You guys probably can't see it, but I went out and bought a giant whiteboard the other day with a couple different whiteboard markers, and I every Sunday once I get done with my meal prep and my work clothes laid out for the week, I just write to do. What do I need to do this week to accomplish everything that I want to be able to set myself up a little bit better for the next week. And you're not always like me personally, I don't always get them all done, but if I get three-quarters of them done, I know I can get the rest of them sprinkled out throughout the week or think about it at work and be able to kind of come home and get to it and check it off the list. And I don't know, maybe for you now being your own, like we mentioned earlier, being your own guy, your own boss, is holding yourself accountable and like not procrastinating. Is that a big thing that you kind of you do and that you found success with? Like if you're discipline is the word. Like if you're disciplined with yourself, like you're gonna be a lot better off than if you just drag ass one day because you just don't feel like it because you want to sleep in till 10:30, 11:30.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds stupid, but everything's a decision at the end of the day. And like you said, you can go watch Netflix or you can continue sitting on the computer writing down a strategy
Yeah.
or, in the editing bay. So for me, like it's only been 45 days and I know things will go south eventually. I'm not going to be this positive all the time, but like setting up goals, setting up things that I know I need to do. And I'd say like one of the biggest tips with that goal setting, start with the easiest goal every week or every day.
Mhm.
Like I can tell you like manifestation is not fake. Like if you want something and you think about it hard enough and you plan hard enough, dude, to an extent, you can have anything you want, right? Like if you make the right decisions in life, like if your checklist is the end goal is to, I don't know, have a brand partnership or get this many followers, and like if you set it up the right way, like it's possible.
Yeah.
Like I'm not some guru here, but like definitely goal setting, putting down your priorities. And again, that like maybe that's a little tip that everyone already knows, but crossing things off that are easy first, even if they're like the most minute things. Like for me, every day I drop my kid off at school. That is a check.
Mhm.
Like I'm getting a check for that. And that makes me feel a hell of a lot better
Yeah.
about the rest of the checks that are going to come after that.
Right, right. When you do your list, like we mentioned way earlier, at this day I want to be this many followers or this much interaction, whatever else it may be. Do you break those? Something that I've learned is really helpful is breaking those goals down or those to-do lists to the smallest point possible. So say you want to get 100 followers a week. Okay, how am I going to do that? Okay, this is the posting schedule. I want to do two reels and three video, or two reels and three photos. Okay, how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to fish these 2 days and I'm going to worry about, maybe getting a cool cast to catch for one of these videos. And then I'm going to take a couple pictures. So those are 2 days that are going to go into three posts. And now I am going to have Thursday to go do these two, like whatever else it may be. Are you the type of guy to write down your goals, break them down to the smallest bite-sized thing that you know you can accomplish? Like if I get these 4 steps, boom, this thing's wiped off the list. Or are you the type of guy that writes the big stuff down and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go do it. Like I'm gonna figure out how to go and accomplish this big task I have at hand.
Yeah, I'm the former for sure. Well, I'd say I'm kind of a bit of both. My big task setting, because I have a wife, because I've got a kid and a lot of responsibilities in life, like we have a shared Google Calendar
Mm.
that I'm throwing like the days that I'm right now, like I said, I'm working on a podcast, working on a video series. So this weekend I've got a big tournament. I'm fishing the Yeti Open up on Table Rock. Like that stuff is mapped out on a Google Calendar that's shared with my wife way ahead of time. And then daily, I'm doing just like you said, is the minute details that not only can help me feel better about the rest of the day, but also feel better about the end goal that whatever I have is, if it's a daily goal or a weekly goal, to me, that's like the type A slash anxiety driven way to solve that
Yeah.
is having everything written down. Like
Hmm.
I'm a very visual person,
Yep.
a very interactive person. So if I can literally just do this at the end
Mhm.
of the day, dude, my anxiety just goes like it's gone.
Right, right. Yeah. Is there, so say somebody's listening to this and they're like, they're getting hyped up, they're getting amped about what we've been talking about. And like, okay, I'm starting to see, the hypothetical light at the end of the tunnel. Not that they're dying, but they're starting to see that their idea is starting to really take place in their mind. Is there any like anything that you recommend, whether it's videos or TED Talks or podcasts or anything that you consume that puts you in the right mindset, whether it's content creation or branding and marketing or just how to be a like, dude, my big thing is being the best public speaker I can be to carry on the most authentic and polished conversation with somebody I can. Like that's what my big thing is. Is there anything that you consumed throughout the last, couple months to years that changed your mindset or made you realize, okay, this is what I kind of need to do to get where I want eventually?
Man, putting me on the spot, but like I don't know the exact names, but I'm a huge podcast guy. Like I'm listening to I'd say this is maybe a hack, but I listen to podcasts in the shower every
Mm.
day. Like that's just a little example. Like
Yeah.
I don't really listen to music that often, although I love music. There's a time and a place. Like if I'm driving an hour and a half to the boat ramp, the last 30 minutes is for music. So I'm hyped up when I'm dropping the boat in the water, hyped up when I drop the trolling motor in. But that first hour, committed to podcast. The only one off the top of my head, how I built this is really big for me. And I've been listening to that for probably, I don't even know how long it's been, but Guy Raz is he's the host. It's an NPR podcast, and they speak with like Fortune 500 companies. We're talking like the Patagonias of the world. I mean, you name it, every category is on there, and they really talk about their journey of start to finish, kind of how we're talking about now. Um, and that just is like big inspiration to me, and really like helps me think about the little moments in my life that can take me from point A to where I need to be, which eventually, hopefully, point B or Z, whatever that last goal is.
Yeah.
Um, but things like that, more of like inspirational stories where where I'm maybe not taking the full hour of insight in, but it's those little snippets that are just like they put me into my flow state.
Yeah.
It's this small little idea, and hopefully there's like something tiny in here that hypes someone up the same way that I'm
Mhm.
listening to a podcast because it's not always the whole thing. It's usually just some little thing, and then I'll pull my phone out, take a note, and I
Yeah.
have a note list of like my ideas, the thoughts that I need to act on. And a lot of times, one of the other hacks that I've been using recently is voice to text.
Mm.
So that, like, when I'm driving,
Hmm.
I can just say, hey, Siri, like, put this in XYZ note and remind me in an hour to, like, do this once I get home.
Hmm.
So, taking like the little nuggets out of things, but like from a category perspective, man, I'm like all over the board, but everything I've learned over the past 12 years, again, I'll tell everyone I didn't go to college, I didn't go to university, I couldn't afford it. Everything that I have done has been from YouTube or from a book or from a podcast, and then just like trying it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what all these, I'm sure you hear this all the time. Like, if your focus is public speaking or holding a conversation, the only way you're ever going to get better at it is just doing it.
Yep.
You're gonna suck. You're really gonna suck at first. And the same thing with social. Like, you're gonna suck at taking videos at first. You're gonna suck at taking photos first. But the only way to get better is to freaking do it. Don't judge yourself. Don't don't give a crap about what other people are judging you about. I can't even tell you how many a-holes have been negative, like on me sharing my journey.
Mm.
I don't let it affect me. Honestly, it makes me laugh. Like, these people are, they'd rather take you down than bring you up. And
Yeah.
that's whatever, dude. There's always going to be those people out there.
Yeah, I had Lawson Lindsay on last week. I'm sure you're probably familiar with him, but yeah, we were talking about
Oh, yeah.
that, like being a content creator a couple of years ago while in high school, and how like that was the weird thing at the time, and how I would get made fun of and he would get made fun of. And now, you look back 4 or 5 years later, and those people that were making fun of you are asking how it's going. Like in his case, they were asking him to fish and stuff like that. So it's super funny. A couple podcasts that I wrote down that maybe if you guys are interested in this type of thing, it's more so like a learning thing. You're not necessarily getting like crazy good content, but you're learning stuff along the way. Sweat Equity is a really good podcast. Open Residency, Creator Science, and Modern Wisdom. Those are all very good podcasts. I like them all. And then books. The War of Art is a very good book. That is like a book on how to just think of something and do it, and not let complacency and that sort of thing kind of creep into your life. And then Atomic Habits is also a very good book. So if you guys are in these markets, whatever. Those are all very good things that I consume a lot of. I've listened to Atomic Habits like 2 or 3 times now, and then War of Art I've listened to like 4 or 5 times now. So it's just all
The
good
other
stuff.
one, oh, yeah. The other one that I read early on, like right out of high school, and you mentioned books, and I didn't even think about this, but How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh
It
yeah, yep,
sounds like a kind of shisty book, but
yeah.
dude, the information that it gives you is super elementary.
Mhm.
They break it down in a way that's like, God, I could use this across life,
Yeah.
across business, so on and so forth. But all those books you recommended, I have also read, and they're amazing.
Primal Branding is another good one if you've read that one. And then oh, one biography or it's a memoir that's really good is what is it? I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Authenticity, maybe? It's the story of Vans. That is a very, very good book. You guys are looking for a book to listen to. It's the story of Vans and how it came to be, and that story is absolutely crazy. The guy was pretty old in life when I want to say he was in his 40s by the time Vans became a thing. And I mean, it's just a good book. You'd have to listen to it or read it, but it's a very good book. I'd highly recommend that book as well. And just, I don't know, like I said, this stuff that we were talking about kind of on the latter part of the show, whether you think it's like bro science or whatever else it may be, like, I just think sometimes, dude, somebody just needs like the little bit of, the thought that they can do it, and they're like, if they're like sold on themselves, oh, this guy did it, like I think I'm able to do it. Like they laid out kind of a roadmap. I'm gonna hyper fixate on this thing for the next 6 months, and I'm gonna try my shot at it, or I'm gonna see how much I can grow in 6 months, and if it's adequate, then I'm gonna take that leap, or whatever else it may be. I think the type of guy who's going to listen to it and pull something from it. They are psyched. They've always wanted to do it, and maybe they just needed that. Maybe they just needed to hear Kyle say how he's going about it, and they're like, okay, I've got a slight roadmap. Like I'm going to try to learn some stuff that is valuable to me once I get out on my own, whether it's like a branding thing or how to brand yourself or how to make influences and win friends or just whatever else it may be. Like all this stuff. If you sit down and you realize I watched 5 hours of TV. I'm on my phone for 6 hours after work. I listen to 12 hours of music from when I wake up to when I go to bed. Like, I'll join Kyle in saying I do not listen to a lot of music. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of books and stuff. And it's time that you think you're selling, but it's like, wow, you can learn a lot of stuff while you're at work or while you're on the way to work or wherever else it may be. And in Kyle's case, when you're in the shower, or, it's just if you want it, you're gonna figure out how to get it. And people are probably listening. It's like, oh, these guys are just trying to be inspirational or whatever else it may be. The Gary V's and the Alex Ramonses, but I mean, if you're sold on yourself, you're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, that's the truth. And don't forget again, you said it at the end, but those people that call you cringe if you thought they were your friends, man. Actually, it's funny. I was just with Bailey Egbert from the
Yeah.
Serious Angler podcast while I was up in New York and interviewed him for my podcast. I told him that the one thing I was scared of when jumping into this, even before jumping in, was like, you got to get over the cringe
Oh yeah.
conversation. You got to, like, I'm sure everyone knows this guy, but I'm not going to drop his Instagram handle. But he commented on one of my posts, and this is probably one of the few things that has actually stuck with me. And he said something along the lines of, "Oh, look at this guy trying to inspire the poors." And my thought came to me was like, since when does chasing a dream, like, since when do you have to be in a certain tax bracket to do
Yeah.
that? Like, I'm sorry that I'm trying to like tell people that this is possible. And I'm being sarcastic when I say sorry. I have zero apology to these people. Like, dude, like live whatever dream you want to live. Like if it's to work at Shimano someday, if it's to I don't know, build your own Shimano, if it's to be an influencer, a creator, dude, just fucking do it.
Mhm.
Excuse my language, but just do it.
Yeah, 100%. There was one last thing I was going to ask you, and it's escaping me right now. But I guess in the meantime, where can the people follow this journey that we've talked about for the last, hour, 15 minutes? Where Instagram, excuse me, oh my gosh, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever else it may be. What are all the platforms that the current's on?
So that's where I'm focused right now. Everything is the current across all four of those platforms. It's TheKurrent. I am working on some sub media brands, some sub brands with actual physical products that'll be rolling out here in Q4 for everyone that doesn't know quarters, but it's October till
Yeah.
December or till the end of the year. But mid October, I assume when we're going to be launching this, will be present time. So keep your eyes out. Got a lot of other things coming out that are similar to this conversation.
Yeah.
So if you don't like to be inspired, maybe don't follow me. If you don't like seeing me tournament fish or like talk about swim baits and hopefully winning tournaments, don't follow me. But if you do like that kind of stuff, that's what I'll be talking about.
Heck yeah, man. And we'll have to plan another one maybe in like November where we actually talk about fishing. This one ate up a lot of the story and stuff, but that's okay because that's what I wanted to focus on because it's inspirational to hear somebody who's living out somebody I say living out somebody else's dream, but showing somebody that their dream is possible, that they can go out and do it. But if you set yourself up right for it and you have discipline and you take action, you're going to be able to make it happen. So, Kyle, I appreciate you for coming on, man. I thank you very much. As always, all Kyle's stuff will be in the show notes. You guys can go follow him on everything if you're not already. And as always, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you guys on episode 207. See you guys.